Okay, so I've had some people ask me how to make the composition notebook paper in PowerPoint. So here is a quick tutorial on how to do that. First, I open up a blank presentation. Next, I'm going to click and drag over these boxes to select them and then just press delete. Then I go up to Design, Slide Size, Custom Slide Size, and I'm going to change this to a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of notebook paper. I'm going to choose Ensure Fit, and now I'm ready to start. So I'm going to go to Insert, Shapes, and I want the rectangle here that has the rounded corners. I'm going to click and drag to make it about the size that I want this to be. You'll notice on this shape that has this yellow or orange circle right here, and this lets you adjust the corners to whatever radius you want. So I want it to look like the outer edge of a composition notebook. Okay, next I'm going to put in another shape. So I'm going to go to Insert, Shapes. This time I want a regular rectangle. And I'm going to drag it over here on the left side. And I'm going to try to line this up with my first shape. And so I'm just going to zoom in here and make sure that everything's lined up. Okay, so I can see at the top here, it looks very lined up to me. If it was a little bit like this, this is the part where I would just adjust this so that they're lined up nice and straight. And then I'm going to check the bottom. And those look pretty well lined up. So I'm going to zoom back out. And now I'm going to select both items, but I'm just going to press Control A. That selects everything on the page. And I'm going to choose Shape Format, Merge Shapes over here, and I'm going to choose Union. So now I've made this into one shape, because if this was in a composition notebook and we were on the right side of the notebook, this side would have the curved corners and this side would be like the center of the notebook. Next, I'm going to change the color. So I'm going to go to the shape fill and make it white. I'm going to make sure that there's no outline. And then I'm going to go to Shape Effects and I'm going to choose Shadow. And I want the outer shadow that says Offset Bottom Right. And so now I'm starting to see the shape of my notebook page. So now we have to put in our blue lines. So I'm going to go to Insert, Shapes. This time I want a line. And I'm going to do my best to choose about where I think that first line at the top of the page should start. So to me, it looks like right there. And I'm going to click and drag. And I'm going to also hold down Shift. And I'm going to try to line up this side with the other edge of the page. And I'm going to zoom in just to make sure that I like the way that looks. I like that. I'm going to zoom back out. Now I need to make the rest of the line. So all I have to do is select that top line, hold down Control. And when I press Control, I get that plus sign. I can just click and drag a copy of this line. If I also now add Shift, I'm pressing Shift 2. This is going to make sure that it stays lined up. And I'm going to adjust the width to what I think looks about right. And then I'm going to let go. I'm going to unclick and let go of those buttons. And now all I have to do is press Control Y, and it's going to keep making a copy all the way down the page for me. Control Y. Okay, so that looks good to me. Then I just need to add in that red line on the left and the red line on the right. So I go to Insert, Shapes, Line. This time I'm going to start at the top of the page about where I think the left margin line should be. And I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to hold down Shift to make sure it's perfectly straight. But I don't want it to be blue, so I'm going to go to Shape Outline. I'm going to choose red. And I still need the red line on the other side. So again, I'm going to select that line. I'm going to hold down Control. And I'm going to click and drag a copy of it over here. I'm going to hold down Shift so it stays lined up. I'm going to let go. Now the thing with this line on the right side of the page is usually this would be sort of faded out, and that's because it's printed on the other side of the actual page. And so to make it look more faded, I'm going to go up to where it says Shape Styles, and there's this little like arrow box shape thing here. You click that, and it's going to open up a bigger menu over here. And I'm going to change the transparency of this to like, I don't know, 80%. And so then that kind of looks, to me, it looks a little more realistic. So now my notebook page is set up how I want it to look, and all I have to do is I'm just going to click and drag over everything, or I could press Control A again to select everything. And I'm going to right click in here, go to Save as Picture. I want to make sure that the Save As type is a PNG, and I'm going to save this. So now if I wanted to, I could go to a new slide. I could insert the picture. The reason I tell you to choose a PNG is because if you had a background color here instead of just a white background, if it was like gray, then the PNG allows for what's outside of our image to be transparent. If you had chosen JPEG, you would have like a white, the corners would be, it just wouldn't look right. I don't know. Okay, so that is how to make it into an image. You can also put this as the background. So I would go to a new slide. In here, I'm going to right click, Format Background, go to Picture, Insert Picture, go find that picture. And that's going to place it permanently in the background. Okay, so that's how to make the composition notebook paper. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and let me know if you have any questions.